Want to improve your attention, your efficiency, and your spatial awareness? You may want to pick up one of these. What's up, everybody? My name is Mo. Today, we're going to talk about video games. Go figure, it's what we always talk about on this channel. But specifically, we're going to talk about if they're good for you and the impact it has on your brain. Today, we're going to be using medicalnewstoday.com as our main source for information, but there's lots of websites that you can reference for this, and we're going to look at it from a couple different perspectives. Let's move on over and jump into it. Okay, so here we are on medicalnewstoday.com. This article was posted, by the way, in July of 2017. And I want to start with this section right here. It says, by looking at all research to date, Palace and her team aim to observe whether any trends had emerged with regard to how video games impact the structure and activity of the brain. A total of 22 of the reviewed studies explored structural changes in the brain, and 100 studies analyzed changes in brain functionality and behavior. For example, video game use is known to affect attention. The studies included in the review show that video game players display improvements in several types of attention, including sustained attention and selective attention. Furthermore, the regions of the brain that play a role in attention are more efficient in gamers compared with non-gamers, and they require less activation to stay focused on demanding tasks. Evidence also demonstrates that playing video games increases the size and competence of parts of the brain responsible for visual spatial skills, a person's ability to identify visual and spatial relationships among objects. In long-term gamers and individuals who had volunteered to follow a video game training plan, the right hippocampus was enlarged. First of all, that's just fascinating, right? The fact that if you look at a long-term gamer, the physical structure of their brain is going to be different. It's actually going to be enlarged, which really brings into question the old saying, you know, playing video games is going to rot your brain. It actually seems like it has a positive physical lasting effect on the brain as we're sitting here reading this article. They also can have an impact on your memory, which they talk about. Let's go ahead and scroll down to it. After 12 hours of training over the period of a month, study participants aged between 60 to 85 years improved performance on the game that surpassed that of individuals in their 20s playing the game for the first time. Moreover, two other significant cognitive areas were improved: working memory and sustained attention. These skills were maintained 6 months after completion of their training. The first thing I thought when I read that was wanting to be like that old guy that surprises everyone by stomping on the 20-something like young upstart who thinks they're all that, and then being like, now get off my lawn afterwards. But seriously, reading through this stuff is truly fascinating to me, and you know, I'll link this article down below in the description, but you guys can go and you can check this out. And there's a ton of science and data out there pointing to the fact that video games not only do they not rot your brain, but in fact they can improve and enhance your brain and a ton of skills that we maybe overlook at face value. Not only that, there are also a lot of studies out there that go into playing specific types of games and how that affects you. I'm gonna link it up above. There's another video by a YouTuber, Spirit of the Law, who talks specifically about Age of Empires and how that impacts your brain. And that video, he does a really great job of checking out a bunch of peer-reviewed articles and what happens when someone, they have a group of people playing Age of Empires versus a control group, and then they give them both the same kind of cognitive reaction tests. And it really just goes into show how playing a game like Age of Empires, these strategy games, or, you know, think StarCraft or something like that, can help with your multitasking and your cognitive flexibility, which is essentially it's multitasking. It's your ability to deal with multiple inputs at the same time and manage large situations. I'll put that up above. I'll also link it below in the description, but check it out. It's a great watch. Now, in this same article, it also does talk about video game addiction, so I want to go ahead and just read through that and bring that to light, because I think it is something that we need to acknowledge and really continue to study and continue to learn more about. It says researchers have discovered that video gaming can be addictive, a phenomenon known as internet gaming disorder. Also, if you do go over to unitypoint.org, I'll also link that below. They do mention that the World Health Organization is trying to add video game addiction as an official diagnosis, an official disorder. So coming back here, in gaming addicts, there are functional and structural alterations in the neural reward system, a group of structures associated with feeling pleasure, learning, and motivation. Exposing video game addicts to game-related cues that cause cravings and monitoring their brain responses highlighted these changes that are also seen in other addictive disorders. We focused on how the brain reacts to video game exposure, but these effects do not always translate to real-life changes. The research into the effects of video gaming is still in its infancy, and scientists are still scrutinizing what aspects of gaming can impact what brain regions and how. It's likely that video games have both positive on attention, visual, and motor skills, and negative aspects, risk of addiction, and oh no! And it's essential we embrace this complexity. And my battery just went out. BRB. That's what happens when you try and shoot a video right after you were streaming. Okay, let's reread that last part just to make sure it's not cut off. It's likely that video games have both positive on attention, visual, and motor skills, and negative aspects, risk of addiction, and it is essential we embrace this complexity. Look, can playing video games be addictive? Yeah, you're triggering pleasure centers in your brain. Of course, habits like that can become addictive habits. I definitely went through a time in my life where I did not have a good work, social, gaming life balance, and I kind of tended to lean really hard into the gaming because I was comfortable in it, and I drew a lot of validation from playing video games. I drew a lot of self-esteem from accomplishing things in video games. But does that mean that video games are bad? No, it just means we have to approach them with balance. I think the danger of saying that there's video game addiction and it's a terrible thing and that video game pushes us more towards violent behavior is that you start to look at it from too much of a one-sided perspective. And when you do that, you're denying people the chance to experience great things and to have really rich life experiences on both a personal level and on a social level. Some of my favorite memories with friends are online, are playing with my raid buddies in Destiny 2, or using World of Warcraft as a way to stay in touch and connect with my friend who I just moved away from. There are a ton of amazing aspects and experiences, and it's not just about if it affects your brain and if it causes growth in the brain versus deterioration, but it's also about how this impacts us socially and how we can grow on a personal level. You're starting to also see a lot more storytelling games come out. Take games like Ori that are just rich in storytelling and emotional experience, and it's really empowering to get to play through all of these games. Whether you're like me and you've been playing video games your whole life, or you're thinking about picking it up for the first time, don't worry, you're not gonna rot your brain. You might actually do it some good. Post down in the comments below, if you do play video games, what do you play? What do you love just diving into and playing for hours on end? If you're new to this, what do you think about jumping into? What game has piqued your interest? If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you want to support the channel, please do subscribe and ring that notification bell. It helps the channel out in a big way. I'm also going to put my social media as well as my Twitch channel down in the description. I do stream over on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Follow the link, join the community, and let's hang out, play video games, and talk about all of this stuff. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.